right, today we have Bob Lanzetti from Snarky Puppy. Bob, you are a great, great guitarist, and we met at NAMM years ago, and I've just loosely watched what you've been up to personally. I've seen a lot of Snarky Puppy stuff, but I think that a lot of people probably don't know that you have an album of Bach Inventions, and you've got an album of music inspired by the movie Nosferatu. So I just thought we could talk about some of your music and weird music and Snarky Puppy.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Um, yeah. So the Bach Inventions record. That's funny. That was initially inspired by Wendy Carlos's "Switched on Bach,"
Yeah.
and I remember listening to that years ago and just thinking, this music is so well written that it doesn't really matter what instruments it's played on. It's like math. It's just perfect. you know.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the initial thought that I had from listening to that. And then I was thinking it would be fun to do a record like that where you're just playing the pieces the same, the way they're written, but really affecting the sounds a lot. So that was the whole concept of that. There's one where we're playing just like steel string acoustic guitars, but connecting all the notes rather than playing them separately. We're kind of arpeggiating everything. There's one that the whole thing is in reverse. I wrote it out backwards, and then we played it backwards, and then flipped it around. So you're hearing the notes in the correct order, but it has that really weird
Right.
reverse sound on it, which is like that. One of my favorite ones is that one actually.
Invention number 170
by Johann Sebastian Bach.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, there's like different concepts on each one, but they're all like basically sound things. rather than notes.
Yeah, one thing I love about you as a guitarist, as I was digging into research for this, you're not the like big Instagram influencer guy. Like you put up videos of yourself just playing, here's a new funky tune, you know, or here's me with the slide, or I'm playing with pedals. And I feel like in this age where everyone is so, you know, they have this incredible camera quality and the audio is just, you know, perfect. You're just like, I'm a guitarist. I love sharing. I love playing and exploring. And I really love that about you, because it feels like you're so relatable when you're playing through ideas and trying out new pedals. And I don't know, I think it's great.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I think that's probably just getting old. Like, you know, the younger kids are all about the Instagram doing it the correct way. I'm just kind of like, you know, I don't want to put that much effort into it.
Yeah, but you're in one of the most in-demand, you know, I don't know what you'd call it, jazz fusion, whatever bands out there. Like, you can fill any stage of any size at this point in your career.
Yeah, hope so.
So I checked out last year. There were 2 releases from Snarky Puppy, one with the Metropole Orkest and one a remix of an older album. Tell us about the Metropole album. That was really awesome, and you guys used the band in so many different ways.
Yeah, well, are you referring? We just made a new one that's not out yet with them.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's not out yet. That'll be out in November, I think. You might be referring to Silva, which was recorded a long time ago, but it may have been remastered. I think it was, actually.
Oh, that's what it is. Remixed and remastered. That was excellent.
Yeah.
It came out last year.
Yeah, thanks. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was like, I think we recorded that in 2015 or 2014. Yeah, that was cool. It was great to, like, hear a whole orchestra behind you. It was the first time I think most of us had experienced that. And Mike did a great job writing the music, and he worked with Jules Buckley, the conductor and arranger, to help arrange everything. So we have a new one with the Metropole coming out in November that we just recorded just a few months ago in January. And that one is, I think it's going to be really nice. It's kind of all based on dreams. It's called Somni. But yeah, I mean, Mike brought in a whole bunch of great music again, and they arranged it. They had several arrangers on it. So I think people will like it, I think. And we're doing some shows next year too in Europe for that record.
Cool. You know, Michael League's albums are just unbelievable. I think he's got one called Where You Wish You Were with Bill Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love that album. I've listened to it so many times.
Yeah, they've been doing duo stuff for a few years now. It's really cool. Yeah,
so I just saw this video of you guys with Federico Malaman on the bass.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. We were just playing at the Groundup festival, which is our own festival, and we did it in Italy, in Alberobello in Puglia. And we had different guests sitting in with us every night. Federico was the first night. And yeah, it was great.
tell us more about this festival, because I think Groundup Music is one of the most important music labels out there. I think just you guys are doing incredible work.
Thank you. Yeah, so we've been doing the festival for, I think, close to 10 years now in Miami. And we've been talking about it for years about doing another one that would be traveling. So continuing to do Miami and then one more that would be traveling. I think we're gonna actually keep doing it in Italy, at least for a while. But that was the concept for a while. So yeah, it was great. It was like 3 days, just last week. We had a lot of great artists from everywhere: Africa, U.S., Europe. Yeah, it was super fun, and it was really hot, but it's kind of like desert, so it was like not so bad at night.
Yeah, tell us about some of the acts that really got your attention.
Oh man, let me see if I can remember the names. Well, there was. I'm gonna have to look at the. Let me see if I can actually look at the flyer,
Yeah, sure.
because I want to make sure I have people's names right. Okay, so there was Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, which she's great. I'm sure a lot of people know her already. She's a fantastic vocalist.
I don't know. I've never heard her, and feel free to tell us. Like, a lot of people come to the channel looking for new music, so feel free to tell us, what they might expect when they hear.
Yeah, I mean she's like I guess you would say she's mostly a jazz singer, but she does like how can I say it? I mean, she has a lot of versatility. I mean, there's like some like musical theater stuff mixed in. Definitely like some like show tune kind of vibes. Maybe even she might even do like opera type stuff here and there. But she's really incredible, and her band is incredible too. Cecile McLaurin-Salvant. I would definitely check her out. Becca Stevens was there, who's been a good friend of ours and for years. She was there doing her thing. Banda Magda. Do you know Fuensanta?
No.
She's a bass player and songwriter, like upright bass and songwriter, and great singer. I'm not sure where she's from. She might be from Mexico, maybe. But she's fantastic too. So that's one of my favorites. There was actually there was a band. There was a flamenco group, but I actually don't know what they're called. But they were really great too. If I can remember their name, I'll let you know.
Cool. Yeah, so when I was listening through your music, I was pretty surprised to hear, I think it was on the Nosferatu album. Yeah, this one, the second track, is really heavy. And you've been associated with a few, like you did a track with Virgil Donati, I saw maybe a year or two ago. And you've got a bunch of heavier music, which really I didn't expect at all.
Yeah, it happens here and there. I was never really like a metal guy, but I did grow up listening to some of it. I've always kind of liked Pantera. I grew up on things like Metallica.
Right.
But I wouldn't really consider myself a metal guy though. But yeah, for the Nosferatu thing, that was a great project because I was able to write a whole new score for the original 1922 silent film. That was a project through Groundup and Alamo Drafthouse.
Okay, yeah.
So several Groundup artists did soundtracks for different silent films, and then they were screened at the theater.
Nice. So does this like sync with the film, so you can put the movie on and start listening to the album?
Not quite. They made it into like a soundtrack, and it's slightly edited here and there. But if you you can see the actual, if you go to Alamo On Demand, I think, you can find the actual film with my soundtrack on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, House of Waters did a couple.
They did one too. Yeah.
The one, I I don't remember what it was a weird title. I listened to that album 100 times easily. I just absolutely loved it. And I did watch it. Oh, Menilmontant is what it was called. But yeah, I watched it along with the soundtrack. It's awesome to see people doing this, kind of creative work, rethinking something that already existed from decades ago or 100 years ago. Yeah, so tell me about, what's going on with Snarky Puppy. Like, what can people expect? You've got the new album, you said, with the Metropole coming later this year. Mm-hmm. What's going on in the next several months?
Well, we're doing a tour in South America in September. And there's a few other U.S. dates, I think in August, that I'm actually not on. Because we always, split up players.
Yeah.
So we kind of sort of, take turns doing gigs. So I'm doing South America. I think maybe McQueen and Mark are maybe splitting up the other U.S. dates maybe. And yeah, I mean, after that, I think we're just kind of laying low the rest of the year. Okay. So we're doing the South America stuff, which is 3 weeks or so. And then that's it for the band for the year. But then like I said, we're doing some of the Metropole shows next year, I think February.
So you've followed Make Weird Music for a while, which I really appreciate and enjoy. Mm-hmm. What are some of the more interesting albums that have inspired you or that you are currently checking out?
Yeah, in terms of weird stuff or anything.
Yeah, weird. Let's start with the weird stuff.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, I've been into a lot of non-guitar music, I guess, for a long time. And some of what I do on the guitar is trying to emulate certain sounds from some of these things that I've heard. I think when I was younger, it even started with things like Björk, So I got into really doing a lot of textural stuff, trying to emulate some of those sounds. I guess I just went through a phase where I wasn't really into guitar. I loved playing it, but there wasn't a lot of guitar music that I was listening to. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of, I think some of the stuff that I've gotten into was an attempt at that as well. Some records I liked. I mean, I loved some of the free jazz stuff, like Eric Dolphy. Some of Derek Bailey was another big influence on me, guitar-wise.
Do you know that Sign of the Four album with Pat Metheny and Derek Bailey?
I think I've heard it, but it's been a while.
Yeah, we did an interview. Greg Bendian, do you know him, the drummer?
Yeah, I think so.
He and Paul Wertico are the drummers on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of near you in the Brooklyn area. But yeah, that album just kind of blew my mind. And
yeah,
I think just showed me a world of music that I never imagined possible. Derek Bailey does a lot of that, though.
Yeah, I know. He plays some crazy stuff. I liked this record that he made called Ballads, which was in 2004 or something like that. I think John Zorn maybe produced it, and it was on his label. Mm-hmm. And he's just playing standards, jazz standards, with no break. It's just the whole thing's a big medley, and it's all connected through this free improvising. He's just playing a steel string acoustic guitar, I think. And it's really cool. Really, of course, it's really experimental. And the tunes, it's funny because sometimes he's just playing little melodic phrases from the tune, and then it's just completely free,
right?
And then he'll play another little melodic phrase from another song, But it's a cool album of probably about an hour of just him improvising, weaving in and out of tunes. Anyway, that was one record I liked a lot. I was really into a lot of 20th century classical music. Also, things like Ligeti, the composer.
Yep.
That was maybe in terms of classical music, that might have been one of my biggest influences. I was quite into him for a while.
Any particular, like the piano etudes or some
I
of his
was
fuller work?
I really liked Lux Eterna, the
Uh,
choir piece, Atmospheres. There was one, what's the name of that? Oh, Continuum, which is just harpsichord, solo
Right.
harpsichord. I like some of the organ pieces. I liked his electronic stuff too. Um,
yeah.
what's the name of that electronic piece?
Uh,
Articulation, I think.
yeah, articulation. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was all that stuff was big influence on me. A lot of that, some of that stuff actually kind of found its way into Nosferatu. Some of those influences were almost like intentional
Hmm.
a couple of times. Um, yeah. So, I'm trying to think
I
if there's
have all
anything.
the I have the book of Ligeti piano etudes, and
Mm.
I transcribed one of them to for two 9-string guitars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's so stupidly difficult to play. I never actually finished it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think there's just when you say it mentioned like non-guitar music. I'm curious. Do you mean like music that just isn't centered around guitar, or music that just doesn't have guitar at all? Like,
Sometimes both, you know.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff I named doesn't have guitar at all.
right.
Um, but then I mean, there's certainly records that do have guitar that are just kind of not really featured, kind of in the background.
That's
As far
something
as
that.
guitar,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry. Go
was
ahead.
I was gonna just say, as far as guitar players go, another guy who I'm really into is Frizzell.
Oh yeah.
Um, Huge influence on me for sure.
Have you worked together?
No, no, I never have. I've only met him briefly. I'd love to like hang with him and play if possible.
I don't know why. I mean, you guys live in the same part of the world, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
I,
you
I
run a lot
actually
of the same circles.
I actually don't live in New York anymore. Actually,
Oh, where did you go?
I'm in South Carolina now.
Oh, when did you move?
Kind of during the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm in New
Sorry.
York. I'm in New York a lot though. So,
Right.
and I have family there still. So, I mean, I'm there probably for a week or so at a time, every couple months usually.
Okay. Okay.
So
What's
I
the
kind of feels
music
like I live
scene
there.
like? Do,
It's cool. I mean, there's a lot of great musicians. I don't do a ton around here though. I'm kind of lay low, and I'm kind of just working on stuff from home, working on stuff for whatever project is coming up, doing some producing, shedding, writing,
mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And then I just go out and play, but I'm not playing too much in town. Occasionally, but
Yeah, I noticed, like, as I was looking for recent performances, I don't think there was any in South Carolina that I saw.
yeah. Well, I've been doing a residency at a venue here called Lo-Fi Brewing every like December, and I'll have different guests come in each week, and that's been fun. But that's
That's
kind of
awesome.
like, besides that, I'll just do like little things here and there if they come
Mhm.
up.
So in Snarky Puppy, there's a lot of sort of experimentation. How do you obviously there's improvisation all the time, but it seems like you guys like to change things up quite a bit with different sounds, textures. You're constantly rotating players in and out. I don't even know if there is an official roster of the band at this point. I think on Spotify it's a picture of like 30 different people.
Yeah, right.
So how do you set constraints in the band? You know, like what are the bounds? How does it work?
Um, well, it definitely changes depending on whether or not we're in the studio or live. In the studio, even when we're doing a live record, usually everybody's there. So there's like four drummers, three guitars, three percussionists, maybe like five horns. Um, I don't even know how many keyboards. you
Yeah.
know. So so that stuff tends to be much um, more specific in terms of parts. Um, I may lay out at times. At times, me and at least one of the other guitar players might be playing a melody. We might be doubling keyboard voicings, like maybe exactly, so that it doesn't just sound muddy, you know.
Right.
If everybody's playing different voicings, it'll just be muddy. So we're playing the same rhythms, same voicings. And then sometimes there's a space where you have kind of freedom to just do some kind of abstract sounds here and there.
Right.
But then live, it's a much smaller band. It's usually like 10 people at a time.
Right.
And it's usually only one guitar. So then you're kind of like, it's kind of a balance between making sure that the parts that need to be covered are covered. Meaning like, you know, if there's a melody that's not really speaking, then you might want to double the melody instead of doing whatever you did on the record, possibly.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like being aware of what the most important part of each section is. But then within that, then you have a lot of freedom too. You know, it's not as important to play the same voicings necessarily. If I'm playing like a funky thing, I could be more kind of free and open with it rather than really sticking to a part. Especially if there's three of us all doing like a funky thing that fits together, you know. So it's kind of more freedom and also more responsibility. So it's kind of like this interesting balance when we're live. But it's a very like open band, you know. Mike is pretty. He's very open minded with what we want to do, you know. As long as the essential things are there, then we have a lot of freedom within that, you know. So that's always a nice thing.
How I know that Mike does a lot of the sort of the musical direction of the band. Are you do you contribute songs, or you know how do you two work together?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone has written music. I've written maybe four or five tunes, something like that, for the band. And you know, Mike he has the final say with certain things because it's his group. But usually the composer writes everything themselves. We don't like write together really. So the chords, the melodies, everything like that will be there. And then we might we'll arrange together as a group. So it's kind of like, everyone contributes music. We arrange together, and then if there's any questionable things, Mike kind of has like the final say on stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's not like a thing where we're writing together really too much.
Mm-hmm. And the songs that you've written, I guess this is a general question, is everyone just expected to know how to write for all the instruments in the band?
Well, I mean, first of all, no one has to write at all if they don't want to.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
so it's kind of voluntary. If you want
Right.
to, then you can contribute stuff. I mean, there's been albums where I have and albums where I haven't. In terms of like knowing how to write for the instruments, I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of a, you try things and then maybe you'll even talk to that player on that instrument and say, is this like a weird thing for your instrument to do, and you can kind of modify things if it is. So it's kind of like just asking for help, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, non-guitar players writing for guitar players can be tricky.
Right.
Because of that's always like a challenging thing. But we don't run into those problems too often, actually. Everyone
cool.
it's pretty, everyone has a good handle on how to write for different instruments,
That's great. And what are you doing, in terms of, is there any new Bob Lanzetti solo music coming out in the near future?
I've actually been writing a lot lately, and I'm hoping to record an album next year, which would be kind of like a follow-up to my one that came out several years ago. Um, Besides that, I have a trio with Keita and Zach. Um, it's just percussion, drums, and or percussion, guitar, and violin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's been a lot of fun, and that's been kind of like a focus for the past year or two. We did several tours and put out a record last year. Hopefully, we're going to record another record in December, maybe. Um, but yeah, that's been a lot of fun, and that band is interesting because there's no bass, first of all,
Yeah.
and I'm playing mostly acoustic guitar in it actually as well. So that's been a lot of fun. It's been fun to write for that group too. Um, Essentially, just writing, guitar and violin parts has been challenging and fun.
Are you using pedals to sort of fill in some of those lower frequencies?
Sometimes, but I'm actually not doing that much. Zach is actually doing that way more than I am.
Oh.
He's got like a octave pedal that sounds really cool. He also plays a six-string violin.
Oh,
So,
okay, that helps. Yeah.
so yeah, so it's kind of like you can kind of get to like cello range in at certain times. So that plus the effect really brings it out a lot. Um, I'm not doing that a whole lot. I do it a little bit, but I've been kind of mostly, if Zach is soloing, for instance, I might be playing like a bass roll, but not necessarily a bass sound.
Hmm.
You know, I'm just the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to. I felt like if I was doing that all the time, then why don't we just get a bass player? You
Right.
know, like it feels kind of gimmicky if you want the bass, but you're not having a bass player.
Right. Right.
And
We just
and
don't
even
have
when
the
Zach,
budget.
yeah, and even when Zach does it, it's he doesn't do it a lot. It's kind of at certain times, it's a nice change to have that low end really kick in occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's been a fun kind of experiment to see if we can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of constraints there, not just frequencies and note ranges, but there's only so much the violin can play at one time, and the guitar is obviously a very diverse, dynamic instrument, flexible. But how are you approaching these songs? Do you start with a melody and just kind of work from there?
In terms of writing,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like how I write most of the time, which is just there is no rules. It's just kind of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I think a lot of times, a couple of songs I've written, I think came from a like a guitar, maybe a few chords or like a bass line that I'm intending on playing on guitar. Um, start to slowly kind of develop it from there. But a lot of times I'll start to hear like Zach's sound in my head, trying to imagine how a violin would sound playing this part or that part, you know. Um, and I like to write things like with glissando and stuff in them. So I'm always kind of imagining how that instrument will sound. But in terms of playing live, I guess that's the because in the studio we have a lot of overdubs and stuff. But live, that's where it becomes a little more challenging because it's like, well, if this bass line is important, that's got to be there. Some harmony has to be there. If Zach's soloing, then I have to kind of try and cover these other parts. So there's a lot of freedom, but there's also there's a lot of responsibility as well.
Right. Right on.
It's been fun, for sure. And I think also it's fun because it's so different than Snarky. Because
What's the
Snarky is
name of
such.
the,
It's
what's
just
the
our
name of the
names.
album? Oh, okay.
The band is Bach Lanzetti Ogawa, and the record is called Drawing Songs.
Well, this is great. Thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate it. Anyone looking to learn more about Bob Lanzetti can go to boblanzetti.com. And anything they need to know otherwise?
If you live in Canada, me and Keita and Zach are coming there in November. We're playing in Quebec City we're still trying to route this tour, but Quebec City on November 7th and Toronto on November 11th. Yeah, and if you're in South America, come check out Snarky.
Right on. Thanks so much, Bob. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.